Hello and a very warm welcome to my channel Coins Worth Million, each and every one of you tuning in today. We are absolutely delighted to have you here, and I want to take this very special moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to all our new viewers, our loyal subscribers, and everyone who is joining this journey with us right now. This video is not just a simple start, it is the beginning of a meaningful connection between you and this channel. So let's get it started. The one new penny coin of 1980 featuring Queen Elizabeth II stands as a remarkable piece of British numismatic history, not only because of its role in everyday commerce, but also due to its place within the broader story of the United Kingdom's decimal coinage system. To fully understand this coin, one must begin with the background of decimalization, a major transformation in the British monetary system. Prior to 1971, Britain operated on a centuries-old currency system of pounds, shillings, and pence, in which 1 pound equaled 20 shillings, and each shilling equaled 12 pence, making a pound worth 240 pence. This complex and somewhat confusing system had been in use for generations, but in the mid-20th century, a movement began towards simplification. The decision was eventually made to decimalize the currency, a reform that came into effect on the 15th of February 1971, a date known in the United Kingdom as Decimal Day. On this day, the pound was redefined as equal to 100 new pence rather than 240 old pence, making the system much simpler for accounting, commerce, and international trade. The one new penny coin, introduced at that time, was one of the key denominations in the new decimal series. By 1980, this coin had already been in circulation for nearly a decade, and the 1980 issue was part of the regular production of coins to meet demand for daily use across the country. The design of the 1981 new penny coin carries significant symbolism and careful artistry. On the obverse side, the coin features the profile of Queen Elizabeth II, who reigned from 1952 until her passing in 2022, making her the longest-serving monarch in British history. The portrait used on the 1981 new penny is the second definitive portrait of the Queen, created by Arnold Machin, a distinguished sculptor and artist. Machin's effigy of Elizabeth II had been introduced in 1968 and remained on British coinage until 1984. In this portrait, the Queen is depicted wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a piece of jewelry she received as a wedding gift from Queen Mary in 1947. The tiara became closely associated with Elizabeth's youthful reign and symbolized continuity, elegance, and national pride. Around the portrait runs the legend, Elizabeth II d.G. Reg. FD 1980, which abbreviates the Latin phrase Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, meaning, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This inscription is a nod to the Queen's constitutional and spiritual roles, blending both the ancient tradition of monarchy and the modern responsibilities of a constitutional ruler. Turning to the reverse side of the 1981 new penny, we find the design created by Christopher Ironside, the artist and designer responsible for all of the reverse designs for Britain's initial decimal coinage in 1971. The design chosen for the penny features a crowned portcullis with chains, an emblem closely associated with the Palace of Westminster, the seat of Parliament. The portcullis itself is a medieval symbol of strength, defense, and authority, while the crown above it ties the emblem to the sovereignty of the monarchy and the United Kingdom's constitutional heritage. Surrounding the portcullis is the inscription, New Penny, along the top edge of the coin, with the denomination numeral 1 placed below. It is worth noting that from 1971 until 1981, the coin bore the words, New Penny, on the reverse, distinguishing it from the pre-decimal penny. After 1981, the inscription was changed simply to 1 penny, as the new system had become well established and the word, new, was no longer necessary. This means that the 1981 new penny represents one of the later years in which the coin carried the new wording, making it an interesting piece in the progression of decimal coinage. The coin itself was struck in bronze, a composition consisting primarily of copper with small proportions of tin and zinc, giving the coin its characteristic reddish-brown metallic appearance. The coin has a weight of 3.56 grams, a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, and a thickness of about 1.52 millimeters. Its round shape and milled edge were standard for the denomination, designed to be durable in circulation while maintaining a distinctive size to prevent confusion with other coins. By 1980, the penny had already become a familiar part of daily life in Britain, widely used in small transactions such as bus fares, newspapers, sweets, and countless other everyday purchases. Its size and metal composition made it practical, and while inflation had begun to reduce the purchasing power of the penny, it still held significant value in the pocket change of ordinary citizens. The mintage figures for the 1981 new penny were substantial, as the Royal Mint produced millions of these coins to keep up with circulation demands. Coins from this year were struck at the Royal Mint's new facility in Llantrisant, South Wales, which had been opened in 1968 to replace the older Tower Hill Mint in London. The Llantrisant site was equipped with modern machinery and allowed for large-scale production of decimal coinage, ensuring that coins like the 1980 penny were widely available to the public. While exact mintage numbers for circulation coins vary depending on records, it is estimated that hundreds of millions of one new penny coins were struck in 1980, making them common at the time and ensuring their continued presence in circulation for decades. From a numismatic perspective, the 1981 new penny is not considered rare, as it was a standard circulation issue. However, its interest lies in its position within the historical timeline of decimalization, as well as the fact that it carries the new penny inscription, which would soon be discontinued. Collectors often seek these coins in uncirculated or proof condition, as such examples retain their original luster and sharpness of detail, making the artistry of the Machin portrait and the Ironside reverse design particularly striking. In circulated condition, the coins are very common and carry only minimal collector premium, but in pristine mint state condition, they can attract interest from those building sets of decimal coinage. The Royal Mint also struck proof sets in 1980, which included the one new penny in specially polished condition, aimed at collectors rather than circulation. These proof examples are especially attractive, with mirror-like fields and frosted designs, showing off the craftsmanship of the mint to its fullest. Historically, the 1980 penny also reflects the economic and cultural climate of Britain at the time. The late 1970s and early 1980s were years of significant social and political change in the United Kingdom, marked by economic difficulties, debates over the role of government, and the beginning of the Thatcher era. While the penny itself is a small and humble coin, it circulated in the pockets of millions during a time of high inflation, labor disputes, and shifting economic policies. The value of the penny was being slowly eroded by inflation, a trend that would eventually lead to the practical near obsolescence of the denomination by the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Nevertheless, in 1980, the coin was still widely used, and its familiar design made it a recognizable symbol of everyday life. For the modern collector or historian, the 1981 new penny featuring Elizabeth II is a tangible link to the early decades of decimal coinage and to a monarch whose reign spanned an extraordinary length of time. It also represents the work of two great designers, Arnold Machin, whose portrait of the Queen was widely acclaimed for its dignity and elegance, and Christopher Ironside, whose reverse designs gave Britain's decimal coins their distinctive and enduring imagery. Together, these elements make the coin not just a monetary instrument, but also a piece of art and history. In conclusion, the 1981 new penny is more than a small bronze coin, it is a piece of Britain's economic and cultural fabric, bridging the nation's medieval symbols with its modern decimal system, and connecting the continuity of monarchy with the everyday lives of citizens. Its design, metal, weight, and widespread circulation make it emblematic of its time, while its place in the transition from new penny to one penny gives it special historical significance within the decimal series. Though not rare or highly valuable, it is a coin that rewards close study and offers insight into both numismatic artistry and the broader historical context of late 20th century Britain. Next coin. The one new penny coin of 1981 featuring Queen Elizabeth II represents a pivotal moment in the story of modern British coinage, and to understand its importance, one must first view it within the wider context of Britain's decimalization and numismatic evolution. Britain had historically used the complex pre-decimal system of pounds, shillings, and pence, a structure in which 1 pound equaled 240 pence, with each shilling being worth 12 pence. This old system, though deeply ingrained in British culture for centuries, was seen as cumbersome and confusing, especially in international trade and education. A reform movement began in the mid-20th century, and by the 1960s, serious steps were taken to modernize. The transformation officially came on Decimal Day, the 15th of February 1971, when the British currency shifted to a base 10 system. Under the new system, the pound was subdivided into 100 new pence, making calculations and transactions far simpler. The 1 new penny coin was one of the essential denominations introduced at that time, intended to replace the old penny and integrate seamlessly into the decimal structure. By 1981, this coin had been in circulation for a decade, serving the daily needs of millions of Britons. The design of the 1981 1 new penny coin is both functional and symbolic. On the obverse, the coin carries the familiar and regal portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who was in the 29th year of her reign in 1981. The effigy used on this coin was the second official portrait of the Queen, sculpted by Arnold Machin obverse. Introduced in 1968, Machin's portrait was widely admired and used not only on British coinage but also across Commonwealth nations. It depicts Elizabeth II wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, an iconic piece of royal jewelry that she received as a wedding present from Queen Mary in 1947. Machin's portrayal is youthful yet dignified, reflecting the Queen's enduring stability and grace. Around the edge of the obverse is the inscription, Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. F.D. 1981. This stands for Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensor, Latin for, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This inscription links the modern coinage directly with centuries of tradition, emphasizing both the Queen's secular and spiritual authority as the head of state and supreme governor of the Church of England. On the reverse, the coin features the design created by Christopher Ironside, a skilled artist responsible for all the reverse designs of the 1971 decimal coinage set. His design for the penny depicts a crowned portcullis with chains, an emblem that is strongly tied to the Palace of Westminster and the Houses of Parliament. Historically, the portcullis was a medieval defensive gate used in castles and fortresses, symbolizing protection, authority, and strength. By adopting this symbol for the coinage, the design communicates Britain's institutional resilience and its parliamentary heritage. The crown surmounting the portcullis ties the symbol of government to the monarchy, merging the ideas of sovereignty and constitutional democracy. Surrounding the design is the inscription, New Penny, at the top and the denomination numeral, 1, at the bottom. This wording, however, carries special significance for the 1981 coin, as this was the final year the denomination bore the inscription, New Penny. Starting in 1982, the Royal Mint dropped the word, new, from the legend, simplifying it to, 1 penny. By 1981, the decimal system was well established, and there was no longer a need to distinguish the decimal penny from its pre-decimal ancestor. This makes the 1981 1 new penny historically significant, as it marks the end of a 10-year transition period in Britain's coinage system. In terms of physical specifications, the 1981 1 new penny was struck in bronze, a traditional alloy made primarily of copper, with smaller amounts of tin and zinc. The coin weighed 3.56 grams, had a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, and a thickness of approximately 1.52 millimeters. Its round shape and plain edge made it easy to handle and simple to differentiate from other coins. The bronze composition gave the coin its familiar reddish-brown color, which, over time in circulation, could darken to a brown or even blackish tone depending on environmental exposure. These specifications were consistent with earlier years of the 1 new penny, demonstrating the Royal Mint's desire to keep the denomination uniform and practical for everyday transactions. The 1981 1 new penny was struck at the Royal Mint's facility in Montresant, South Wales, which had been operational since 1968. This modern minting complex allowed for the production of massive numbers of coins, and by 1981, the Royal Mint had fully transitioned to decimal coinage production. The 1981 issue had a very high mintage, with tens of millions of coins produced for circulation, ensuring that it was readily available for daily use across the country. While precise mintage numbers vary depending on collector references, it is clear that this was not a rare coin in circulation terms. Its ubiquity in pockets, purses, and tills reflected its role as one of the most fundamental coins of the British currency system. From a numismatic perspective, the 1981 one new penny holds a unique place in British coin history, not because of its rarity in circulation but because of its transitional status. As the final coin to bear the inscription, New Penny, it is often collected as part of a complete decimal penny series. Numismatists frequently highlight the coin as a turning point, where Britain moved from the tentative, new, phase of decimalization to a more settled, permanent structure in which the coins were fully integrated into the culture. For collectors, uncirculated or proof examples of the 1981 one new penny are particularly attractive. The Royal Mint issued proof sets in 1981 for collectors, featuring the penny with polished fields and frosted designs, a striking contrast that highlights the artistry of both Arnold Machin and Christopher Ironside. In circulated condition, the 1981 penny is very common and generally holds little monetary value beyond face value, but in pristine condition, it can be an important addition to a decimal coin collection. The coin also provides insight into the broader social and economic climate of Britain in 1981. This was a period of economic hardship, high unemployment, and political transformation under Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, who had taken office in 1979. The purchasing power of the penny had already begun to diminish due to inflation, yet it remained an essential coin for small purchases like sweets, newspapers, and bus fares. It was also widely used in vending machines, car parks, and other everyday transactions. The coin thus represents the practical realities of ordinary life in Britain at the time, circulating in the hands of children and adults alike, quietly serving as a tool of commerce in a period of both challenge and change. Symbolically, the 1981 one new penny also reflects Britain's enduring traditions and ability to adapt. The monarchy, symbolized by Elizabeth II's portrait, stood as a stable figure in a time of uncertainty, while the portcullis design on the reverse rooted the coin in the legacy of Parliament and governance. Together, these elements highlight the way British coins act not only as monetary instruments but also as cultural emblems. Each coin carries the weight of history, continuity, and identity, linking individuals in their everyday lives to the larger story of the nation. In conclusion, the 1981 one new penny coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II is a modest yet highly significant piece of British numismatic history. As the last issue to carry the inscription, New Penny, it marks the end of a transitional decade in which decimalization became fully embedded in the nation's financial system. Its design, specifications, and wide circulation make it emblematic of its era, while its artistry reflects the skill of Arnold Machin and Christopher Ironside, two of the most influential designers in modern British coinage. Though common in circulated condition, the coin's historical importance ensures its continued interest among collectors and historians. It stands as both a symbol of Britain's evolving currency system and a small but enduring connection to the economic and cultural life of 1981. Please like and subscribe to my channel.